So my suggestions would be three. Number one, every channel or every newspaper, before you broadcast any poll, and this request is to the editors, not to pollsters, can you please insist that you want to see what is the methodology of the poll that you are publishing? Can you ask them to be transparent in reporting their methodology? Are you conducting interviews on telephone? If on telephone, are you not missing out the lower segment of society? What is the composition of the voters you have interviewed? How many men, how many women, urban, rural, caste, class, everything needs to be known. So can we insist on transparent reporting of all the polls? I find only the CSDS doing it right now. Access My India also did a bit of that, that must be said. No one else bothers to even report such things. And finally, may I suggest that there should be some disclosures which should be mandatory. Like when I speak to you, you would clearly say, he is not a pollster, he has political affiliations, he's from Bharat Jodo Abhiyan, which has worked against the BJP. That's a minimum disclosure that must be made before anyone listens to what I'm saying. Would it not be useful for channels to report that Mr. X is doing exit poll for us? His company is mainly involved as an in-house pollster for the Bharatiya Janata Party. This other agency is involved with the Congress Party. Why should it not be reported? You do these things and you would see the quality of polling will improve in this country.
Sir, then the other big question. The story of this election in many ways is the story and how it unfolded in Uttar Pradesh. How did no one catch the hawa of what was happening? What did the Samajwadi Party do right and the BJP wrong?
Shreya, two things. May I say that after the first round of polling, when I was traveling in Uttar Pradesh, I not only saw, I also posted to say, Uttar Pradesh mein rajnaitik bhujal aane wala hai. No one took me seriously because they thought it's a political activist who's trying to give some goli. Now, two things are happening. If you are looking at a state where one party has 45% votes, the other party, let us say, has 50% vote. And if I'm traveling as a reporter, it's very hard to tell who has 45 and who has 50. If one has 30 and the other one has 60, then you can very easily pick that. But if it's that close, I thought most of the reporters were simply focusing on levels to see who is ahead, which is very difficult for any ground reporter to tell. What they should have instead focused on was change. When my team and I were traveling, we would simply keep discarding every report of someone who said, I was voting for this party, I'm again going to vote for this party. And we would simply focus on change, which is the direction of change. And Shreya, when we did that, it was absolutely clear, and I reported it again and again and again, and I challenged everyone to please step out of their house and check it out, that no Samajwadi Party or Congress voter of the past was saying that we would not vote for them this time. Everyone was saying, of course we'll vote for them again. BSP voter, there was a small attrition, slightly to the BJP, but more to Samajwadi Party. And among the BJP voters, there was a clear attrition of anything between 1/6, 1/8, or sometimes 1/4. So I'm surprised how people miss this direction of change. I don't expect ground reporters to be able to estimate the quantum of change, because for that you need barometers. That's why you need surveys. But the direction was so clear that I'm actually surprised what's happening to the quality of reporting. I must say, Shreya, having said all this, during this election, many people did ground reporting, and I'm happy to report that many women journalists were actually keeping the country informed about what was happening, traveling to ground and bringing out reports. If you read those reports carefully, you had a sense of what was happening. So I'm surprised that they missed it out. In terms of what the Samajwadi Party did right, let's not overestimate. You know, the problem in our country is that if they had lost, we would have thought everything they did was wrong. And now that they have done well, we would imagine that everything they did was right. No, something else was happening. I would give more than political parties, it were the people who were doing something very important. I think for some reason, which is not entirely clear to me, people thought, all right, it's time we stopped postponing the questions we have been postponing for many years now. Why they thought of it now and not in 2022 is not entirely clear to me. But for some reason, they just said, okay, it's time we asked about inflation, unemployment, Avara Pashu, all these issues were there in 2022 as well. But at that
Correct.
time, their memory of what Samajwadi Party government was like, and the memory part of which was manufactured, was too strong for them to be able to go back to those things. This time, they went back to ordinary everyday concerns, and also they were sick and tired of the BJP leaders, local MLAs, incumbent member of parliament. There was enormous anger against them, which I'm sure everyone would have noticed. All that came together, and specifically 2-3 things happened to consolidate it. Muslims thought this was an election to decide whether they would have equal citizenship in this country or not. So there was entire consolidation of Muslim vote behind the party that could defeat the BJP. Very little went to the BSP. Dalits thought it's constitution. And if constitution goes, reservation goes, and there goes our livelihood. And for some parts for the farmers, it was an attempt to teach them a lesson. All this came together to produce this rather dramatic victory in Uttar Pradesh.
Something that no one saw coming except perhaps you and a handful of ground reporters. We leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much, Mr. Yogendra Yadav, for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you here on Mirror Now.